How do you break the ice in everyday life, right? This is not a here's an icebreaker activity kind of video, but in everyday life, most of us break the ice with one of about 4 questions. How are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Maybe if we know the person, how was your weekend, right? We get in this conversation rut. And so I wanna share one of my absolute favorite stories that illuminates, I think, a really brilliant learning about how to break the ice and spark curiosity in others. And to model this right away, I actually wanna live out or practice something that Chip and Dan Heath talk about in their book, Made to Stick, of why we remember some things and not others. Because curiosity, creating this curiosity gap, is actually a really powerful force to increase people's retention. And so, 3 curiosity gaps for this video. One I already gave you. I'm gonna share one of my all-time favorite stories. The second one, I'm gonna share a fun fact that you might be impossible to Google about somebody who actually made about $2.5 million off of curiosity, I would say. I'm gonna share how we did that. And then just to take it up another notch, I'm gonna share about somebody who you probably know, because he's been in the news a lot lately, who's actually made billions of dollars and transformed an area of our world purely because of one question, one curiosity. And so by the end of this video, you're gonna be able to, in a really fluid, everyday, in any context kind of way, break the ice and spark curiosity in others, not just in yourself. Story time. So Will, my late co-founder and co-author of Ask Powerful Questions, and I work together teaching people how to be curious and build a relationship of trust really quickly. And one of the tools that we would teach people is to follow your curiosity based on something that somebody is wearing, carrying, sharing, or presenting. So this is because the context we were teaching people to do this in was a group of strangers walk into a room. So let's say we've got about 5 to 6 people sitting in a circle like this. And so I'm here facilitating a dialogue with 6 to 7 strangers. And one by one, people are coming into the room at the very beginning of the session, right? And so Will is in this session and this guy walks in. So pretend Will's sitting here and this guy walks in and Will's paying attention to what he's wearing, carrying, sharing, or presenting. And he looks, he's got a Yankees hat on. And Will's like, not that curious about that. I'm not really a sports person. He looks down, he's wearing a Yankees jersey. Not so curious about that. Over that, he's got a Yankees jacket. Will looks down, he's like, all right, I'm really striking out here. Yankees emblem on the pants. He comes over, sits down, not next to Will, so I guess over here. Comes down, sits down, and his pants go up, revealing his socks. And he's got Yankees socks and a Yankees emblem on his shoes. And Will is like, how can I possibly spark curiosity right now? I don't like baseball. The question that eked out of Will's mouth in that moment was, dude, how did you become such a fanatic about baseball? And this guy had this whole story about how all growing up, he didn't really like baseball that much, but and he had a pretty tumultuous relationship with his dad, but every single time they went to baseball games, it was like bliss, right? Dad loved baseball, and so it was his father-son. It was like the most positive memories of his childhood with his dad. And so the lesson in that I think we forget as we get taller is that, I'm gonna say this slowly, curiosity is a choice. It's actually a muscle, and just like a bicep or quadricep or calf muscle, I don't know what the scientific name for a calf muscle is, I'm curious about it though. Just like any of those muscles, curiosity atrophies when we don't use it. And so, you can actually choose to be curious. Now, how do you make $2.5 million by being curious? I'm gonna say you have to find the window. So, is this gonna work, Stephen? You have to find that person's window into their curiosity. So Ken Jennings is become famous, I don't know how famous he is to you, for winning 74-ish games of Jeopardy and winning over $2.5 million. Now, I got to meet Ken Jennings and hear him speak at one point, and he shared a fact which I doubt is on Google anywhere. Somebody in the Q&A afterward asked him the question, how in the world did you get all of this knowledge? And he said, opossums have 13 nipples. I was like, what in the world does that mean? It was one of the first facts that he identified ever learning. And it just opened up this window of curiosity in his brain. I'm not personally curious about that. Maybe you aren't either. And I don't know what the people you're interacting with are curious, or the people on your team, or the people in your group. But if you can find out, and if you can tap into that curiosity, if you can find and ask them questions like, what is one of your favorite topics of conversation? That opens up a window into what they're curious about, right? So if you ask someone, what do? They may or may not want to talk about that. If you ask someone, what is one of your favorite topics of conversation, and they say space travel, like, whoa, like you've got a window into their curiosity. And so you can break the ice much more easily with them if you're actually looking for what they're curious about. All right, the third curiosity gap that I created for you was this person that made billions of dollars and changed the world off of his curiosity. And I'm just gonna let him tell the story. His name is Jack Dorsey. He's the founder of Twitter and Square. And this is the story of what sparked the creation of Square.
And there was an opening, particularly in payments. And at this time, I also reconnected with my first boss when I was 15 years old. His name is Jim McKelvey. And he is a glass artist. He makes these beautiful pieces of glass. And we reconnected over Christmas. I normally go home for Christmas and visit my family. And we got to talking, and he wanted to build an electronic car company. And I said, I have no idea how to do that, but it's an interesting idea. But let's keep talking. We should definitely work together on something. And then one day he called me up on his iPhone, and I picked up my iPhone, and he was frustrated because he just lost a sale of a $2,000 piece of glass that he had just made, because the woman who wanted to pay him only had a credit card and he couldn't accept a credit card. And we're both wondering, you have this general purpose computer next to your ear, why were you not able to make that sale? And we decided that he would come out, and we would take a month, and we would hire one other programmer to work on the client side and build the hardware out. And I would build the server software and then answer that question. And in a month, we built a very early prototype of what is now known as Square, which is a credit card reader that plugs into the audio jack of your iPhone or your Android or your iPad or anything that has an audio jack. We just need to write software for it. And the software and the hardware was really easy, and we got that done in about a month. I could actually swipe a card and generate an electronic receipt via email and then send it out to a person. And I love this because I would go around to all these angel investors and VCs and charge them $5 or $50 to show them my new idea. And made $600 from that, by the way. It was awesome.
Boom. How beautiful is that story, that idea? One question. Why couldn't he take payment from this person with a credit card? He's got a computer in his pocket. Why wasn't he able to take payment? And Square was born. And Jim, that artist, became the co-founder of Square, right? So I think being curious, igniting curiosity about problems that people want to solve is another really beautiful lesson about how to break the ice. Find out what problems people care about. But the real way to break the ice and spark people's curiosity is to forward this video. So you should copy the link and send it to your team because they might like it, and it might spark a little discussion about what you all are curious about so you can have better conversations on the regular. Have an awesome day.